Hello everyone, I'm Delix and this is my cat, Josie. I've had her for 15 years. Say hi. Hello everyone, I'm Delix and this is a Yu-Gi-Oh card. Yes, I still collect Yu-Gi-Oh cards in 2022. Anyways, today's discussion video is Twitter killing the anime community, and is it really responsible of making creators look like they're assholes compared to who they are on YouTube, on their channel? So when you go on Twitter, there's Twitter wars, there's Twitter debates, there's Twitter everything. Who has the best shonen main character? What's the best anime in general? What fight is better than the others? Why can't anyone put any other series above all the others? Because all the other ones are considered superiors and the other ones are considered less superior. And another discussion video that I wanted to bring to the channel to really talk about some things on Twitter, because it has been this thing where who you are on YouTube, right? You're nice, you're cool, but when you go to visit their Twitter page, myself as well, who has a history on there, you kind of get a different perspective on that person. And I kind of feel like Twitter has a way to make us feel like we're assholes without even trying to be assholes. And you see, and yes, it is true, you become more open on Twitter, because obviously who you are on the YouTube channel it's presenting yourself a bit differently. You have to be a bit more professional when it comes to making a YouTube channel and just presenting yourself as a person on YouTube. Twitter is more like talking shit about whatever with your friends, or something you do not agree with on Twitter, something you feel like people are misunderstanding about your favorite series or your favorite main character, and you make an opinion about it, and then that turns into an argument, and then that turns into not just an argument, but shit talking within the argument. And then you kind of feel like, oh, this person isn't as good as who they are on their YouTube channel, because on their Twitter page, they seem like a dick. And yes, that is true. I have gone into arguments with the One Piece Phantom, Boruto Phantom. I've argued so many times with other Phantoms on Twitter. My Hero Academia as well in the past. Standing up for Black Clover in 2020 with My Academia Phantom. Everyone's fan base is cancerous when you go on Twitter. And yes, sometimes people can view you differently on the Twitters than on the YouTubes. That's just how it is, because when you're on Twitter, you feel more, you're not really necessarily afraid, because it's random people on the page. While when it comes to your YouTube audience, especially if you're a small content creator, you can keep up with your, that's one of the good things about being a small YouTuber, is that you don't have a lot of fans, a lot of supporters, so you can keep up with people who come to your channel more regularly, and you're more familiar with that person. But when it comes to Twitter, it's just a bunch of random people who you can't even tell their ages. Like people who argue with people, you don't even know if that person is in middle school or in high school, and you're a grown adult arguing with teenagers on Twitter. And that's the thing about Twitter, you don't know everyone's age on the platform. So the fact that you're an adult arguing with people who are probably still in school, if you're especially doing YouTube for a living and you've been on the platform long enough, you don't really know, you can't really keep track of anyone's ages. So that's just how it is. You don't really know fully who you're talking or debating with. You just argue or call out people who need to be called out, or people who are being called out for the right reasons. Sometimes people get called out for the wrong reasons or by mistake, but in general, everyone's just a bitch on Twitter. And yes, in a way, viewing yourself as a content creator on YouTube and who you are on Twitter, yes, it is a fair opinion or a fair approach to look at that person differently. Because yes, we all say things and we act differently when it comes to arguing or talking to people on that platform. When it comes to YouTube, though, it's your community. Like I said earlier, a small community is much easier to keep up with, so you know what you're more comfortable to talking to and what you should say or what you should not say. When it comes to Twitter, it's just a random people. But on your YouTube channel, you know who can trust you with the right words or with the right opinions. So just because I talk about certain opinions about anything on here and you guys are okay with it, that does not mean the same people on Twitter are going to be okay with what I'm talking about on Twitter versus what I'm talking about on YouTube, because Twitter has a thing where it can trend everywhere. YouTube, even if it's the community tabs or just making a video on YouTube, if the video does not blow up on the community tab or the YouTube, or I don't think it even blows up the community tab post on the YouTube channel. I'm just saying you're likely to get more people to view what you post on Twitter without even following that person. And that's how kind of conflict happens on Twitter, is that people see things out of the wrong order, or something that you were talking about on your YouTube audience, and you bring that to Twitter, and someone who doesn't even know your your YouTube channel at all, they're not going to know the full context of what you're talking about. And they're going to feel like you're talking out your ass. So, in a way, I feel like, yes, the YouTube community and how it is on Twitter, it turns you into a monster. It turns you into something a bit different. But at the same time, you are still you. It's just anime wars are more worse on Twitter because it's a public platform where everyone can call each other, cuss each other, meme each other out. When YouTube is a bit more professional. YouTube has its dirty history, no doubt, but Twitter, in a way, yes, is like making wars with people who you're not even trying to make wars about or with. You know, you say an opinion or two, and it pisses off the entire platform of a whole community. Even when you're making memes about something with your friends, as someone who does not follow you, because Twitter has this thing where you can still see people's posts without even knowing them or following them. And like I said earlier, they can see it out of context when you and your friends know what they're talking about, what they're debating about. And when you see that conversation not in the right context, when you're just randomly see it, you're going to jump in, and that's going to cause an argument. So I feel like Twitter, yes, is responsible of turning a lot of things into a negative. What is hurting the anime community as well. A lot of people don't even go on Twitter because that's where the phantom is really worse. That's where the cancer part of anime community really is. Because that's a very open and public platform for all communities, all fans, and all debates. And usually on YouTube, you can bring what's on Twitter to YouTube because YouTube is mostly like a personal platform. It's like social media. You can put everyone on social media, but Facebook is the one that's more personal than others because it's personal. It's Facebook. It's more personal. You don't want everything to happen on your Twitter and your Instagram accounts to your Facebook stuff because that's more of a family friend thing. You don't want that shit in your personal life. And it kind of feels like how it is with between Twitter and YouTube. You don't want the Twitter shit to get to your YouTube stuff because YouTube is professional. It's your community. It's people who like you and you like them back, who like your videos and you like the responses that your community is going. And if you bring that to Twitter, it doesn't mix. You know, you have to keep those two things separate. So yes, when fans view their content creator on Twitter versus who they are on their YouTube channel, that is a very professional way to judge them, who they are and who they not are. But at the same time, that is just how everyone is. Everyone is different on social media than who they are on YouTube. That's why when you see shit happening on Twitter with arguments and people cussing out people, content creators have done this a lot as well. Anime YouTubers do it a lot because they're tired of the bullshit. They're tired of people getting wrong information. They're tired of seeing things out of context, or people who didn't watch the video fully, or people who took little things from a video and they don't really understand what they're doing and they take it to the content creator on YouTube and then they get called out for it because either you didn't watch the video correctly or you're having misinformation and you're going with what you think is in your head, not really knowing the full story, and you're attacking the content creator and you're thinking of them as an asshole because they're calling you out, even though that you're probably the one who's being the asshole and the content creator is just standing up for themselves. Twitter is like the most cancerous thing on social media in the anime community, and it is a reason why friendships can't end and why people see things differently from each other on there. And a lot of things happen on there that is hurting the anime community in a way because that's where the most cancer part starts. YouTube is one thing, but when you have a public platform where everyone is just stating anything of an opinion or a fact, and some people can't even take shit as a joke sometimes, that is really what's really affecting the community. Is that Twitter, like, it brings like the worst part of you out, and I've been affected by that as well. I have some history on Twitter in the last 3-4 years, but how it's really going to affect the person mentally, it's either personally, when you get on so many debates and so many arguments, you deactivate the account because you can't stand the bullshit, and sometimes you never want to go back to Twitter because of how it mentally gets to you in your mind. I have never gotten to that stage yet, but from the weird shit you can get from YouTube and the hatred and the negativeness from each Phantom, like when people say, I've never seen this from the Phantom, or I've never seen the Phantom have done this before, it's because, look, not everything is on YouTube. You have to go to Twitter and Instagram sometimes to see where the Phantom is also at. Like when people say, like, I don't see anyone talk about this show or this character, it's like, not everything is on YouTube. You have to go to other websites on Google to see other people's opinions. Not everything is going to be on YouTube. Sometimes you see opinions outside of other websites. So when people say things like, I haven't seen someone say this about this character or this show, or no one's saying this show is overrated, it's because not everything is on the platform of YouTube. You have to travel around the internet to see other cancerous parts of communities. That's why it's not just Twitter, it's everywhere. You gotta find where the cancer is coming from with like everyone's perspective, everyone's negativeness, and everyone's disrespecting each other. It's not all on Twitter, it's not all on Instagram, and it's definitely not all on YouTube. You have to travel the internet to see the negativity. But I'm just saying, between all social medias and YouTube, Twitter is the one that's making people really feel like the anime community has a huge problem. And yes, you can see what the community really is. The Naruto community, the My Academia community, the Black Clover community, One Piece community, any community you can think of right now in your head. I have not seen every cancer part of every community, but that does not mean it does not exist. Just because I don't see it does not mean it does not exist. It's probably happened many of times. Like, there's a lot of things wrong with every anime community. It's just Twitter is the one platform that makes it obvious why you don't want to be in the community anymore, because of what they keep bringing to the table. So, in your opinion, what is affecting the anime community? Is it Twitter or not? Because to me, I feel like Twitter is a reason why it makes us a little bit violent. It makes us a little more feel like we got to stand up for ourselves, or I call out people who need to be called out, and sometimes we can't stop it. Sometimes we just have to stand up for what is right when it comes to wrong opinions or right opinions. Just because what I think is right, you may think is wrong, and what you think is wrong, I might think is right, and then the argument happens. So let me know. I am Delix. This has been a discussion video 2, and I'll see you guys later. Have a good night. Bye.